Om Shanti. Welcome to today's episode of Masters of Change. They say time is a great healer, but what happens when we take time? We sit back, we relax, we introspect, and we change. We change our attitudes, we change our beliefs. So I think I would be right to say that change is a great healer. And to help us set the right kind of perspective towards change, today we have with us Sister Marina from UK and Bosnia. Welcome, sister.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing today?
Very good. I'm in India, in the motherland, so very, very good.
Is it your first visit or you keep visiting?
I visited a few times. I don't know how many, but maybe about 12, 13 times.
Oh. So what's the one new thing that you're taking away from your visit this time?
So the one thing that I'm preparing every day and every hour that I'm practicing is this practice of what we call dying alive or going home. So imagine if it was your last day. If it was your last day on planet Earth, what would you spend it like? What would you live like? So it kind of always makes me more introverted. It makes me more peaceful. It makes me more detached. And when I'm more detached, everything is more practical in my life. There's less emotional reactions. There's less negative thoughts. There's less wastage and more productivity, positivity, love, and happiness.
Correct. So why don't you start by telling us how it all started for you, your spiritual journey? At what age did you feel that there was a need of spirituality?
I guess it started when I was really young, because I experienced war when I was 8 years old. And that's when I turned to God for the first time. So that was interesting considering my family was an atheist family and we lived in a communist country. Yeah. But it wasn't until I was in my 20s, in my early 20s, I was about 24 probably, that my auntie, who's a retired psychiatrist, said, go and do the positive thinking course with the Brahma Kumaris. And that was life-changing because I was very anxious, I was quite stressed, worried about my life. And when I went to go and do the course, immediately there was this food for thought. And the teacher asked us what our thoughts, and all of us were trying to guess what our thoughts, and no one could get the right answer. And then suddenly she said energy, and it was just one of those light bulb moments. And it just shifted things inside me and it created a new perspective. Also, the teacher was saying things like, in my country, everyone is really worried and love is equal to worry. And if you don't worry, it means you don't love. And I was like, gosh, that sounds really familiar. And it turns out she was from my parts of the world. So there was lots of synchronicities and lovely moments that helped me to gain that new understanding and perspective that made me want to search more, learn more, and get closer to myself.
So when you went to the center, you said, right? So what was your outlook towards the center? Did you expect anything, or because you didn't believe in God before that? So did you expect anything by going there?
Well, it was an inner space in Covent Garden in London. And I don't remember anyone mentioning anything about God, so it was quite good, because probably if they did, there would have been a wall. There would have been resistance. And then later on there was, of course, and it just made me think, oh, it's another religion, and here we go again. But the changes that were happening inside of me was what was significant. I was becoming more peaceful. I was just changing massively. I was stopping drinking, stopping smoking. I didn't want to party all the time as much. And I was just beginning to feel a lot more contentment inside of me.
All this when you were in your early 20s?
Yeah.
So how did your friends around you take that change?
What happened was when I started exploring spirituality, it's like I attracted a different group of friends. And yes, I still had some of my old friends, and I'm still in touch with some of them, definitely. But I would say I definitely had too many friends. And suddenly this group of friends were the exact kind of friends that were very supporting, accepting.
Spiritual.
Exactly. So it was really magical in that sense. And I'm still friends with some of them to this day, and we're very close and we're very supportive of each other. Everyone is on a different spiritual journey of their own, but we're very close, and it's like God sends you all the right people that you need to help you on your journey, to inspire you and to help you to become who you really are.
And what about the other group of friends? Those faded away?
A lot of them have, but some of them I still see, and when I do, it's all good. But I just don't go out partying as much, and so I guess everyone is in a different phase of their life anyway. Everyone's having kids and everyone's settling down, but there's good feelings and there's always good memories and good times that we recollect, and then you can reflect on things that are happening in your day-to-day life. And I like having those kinds of friendships where you can be more open and connect at a deeper level.
Right. So it has been now 15 years, you said?
Yeah.
Since your journey. So if you look back on these 15 years, is there anything that you regret?
No.
All the decisions that you took were spot on. And
yeah. I just know that everything happens for a reason. I could regret a lot of things before, I think, in my earlier 20s and teens, but I know that all of those experiences have definitely helped me to be who I am today. So there just isn't anything that I would change. It's all experience and it's all good.
So if you can tell us, how is your daily schedule like?
So it starts off at around 3:45. And then I get up for my morning meditation. I meditate for about 45 minutes to an hour. Then I might do a bit of exercise or get ready, do all the things that everyone needs to do in the morning to get their day started. And then depending on if I'm in Bosnia or if I'm in the UK, if I'm in the UK, I will go to the center for the morning meditation and class. Or if I'm in Bosnia, then I'll prepare the class myself and I'll teach the class. And then there's just a variety of things that can happen in the day: talks, organization, marketing, you name it. Lots of different activities and service projects that I'm involved in. So I feel very blessed.
If you can talk about some services that are going on currently where you are in Bosnia or in London.
Sure. So in Bosnia, we didn't have a center. And because I was born there, perhaps that's the connection, naturally. As soon as I had this spiritual awakening experience, I just wanted to go back and open up a center. So in 2013, I did that.
Wow.
And that was amazing. A huge, huge learning curve. I've learned so much. I'd never done anything like that. And in fact, maybe 2-3 years before that, I said I'm never setting up any businesses in Bosnia. I had very bad experiences and it made me very stressed. But with this new perspective and a new state of mind, I was ready to take on a new project. And then recently, in recent times, I'm working more with all the other countries that surround Bosnia, because you all speak pretty much the same language. And that's really special because we all used to be one country, and then we had a war, and then we all split up. So we plan things together, and we do nice retreats together and plan other activities.
Nice. So basically, how long has it been since you opened the center?
So that was 2013, so 10 years. We had to close the physical center, which made me focus more on the online service, which has been even better. So hopefully this year we're going to restart a physical space because it's just always more powerful when people get together. There's just something very different that happens when you gather in a place, and that collective energy just grows and grows, and it's very supporting and nurturing for people.
Have you found your purpose of life?
Yes.
If you can share what's that?
Happiness. It's got to be happiness, definitely. Happiness and inner contentment and love. That's all I ever wanted, and that's definitely what I have now.
How are you planning to share it? Because when we receive something which we think that might be useful to others, so you said that you're opening up a center. Is there anything else that you have in your mind that you might want to do in future?
Well, I want to do some interviews like you. That's one particular project, but I think more it's about everyday life, just in every interaction, in everything that we do, to stay in that highest consciousness, to stay connected to the divine, to stay connected to the self, to that deepest, purest part of us, which is the truth. And when we're connected to that, then sharing is just natural in every interaction and everything that we do. So ultimately, it's about those little things. It's not what we do, but how we do it, right?
Correct. Do you believe in God today?
Yes. I don't believe in God, but I know God. That's what the experience is like.
You know God, but you don't believe.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
I guess because I don't come from a religious background. I've never really been into belief or faith or anything like that. It has to be practical. It has to be based on experience. So definitely I have come to know God, and I'm getting to know him or her, whichever way you want to look at it, more and more each day. So every single time I sit in meditation, every single time I take that time for myself, there's a natural connection that happens, and an intimacy and a closeness that cannot be replaced by any other experience.
If you can share some experience that you've had, which was so profound that it stayed with you.
Sure. One would be when I came to India first, and we were having a special meeting. And going into that meeting, I decided to prepare myself for 3 days. I was in silence.
For 3 days?
Yeah. And so the first day I realized, wow, I just talk a lot of stuff that's completely unnecessary. Second day I realized a lot of unnecessary thinking. And then the third day I was just in this complete experience of bliss. I was just flying. That's what it felt like. So going into this meeting with the divine, meeting God, I didn't want anything. I had no expectations. I didn't need anything. But this subtle meeting happened where I got touched in a different way. And I just started crying like a baby. The woman who was sitting next to me had to, try and calm me down, because it just came out of nowhere. But it was like this realization that, wow, this is actually God. This isn't a joke. And it was, I guess, an experience of being saved, an experience of freedom and knowing that finally I was safe. Finally, everything was going to be okay.
And do you still party? And how is it different from the parties that you were doing before you had this knowledge? Do you still go out? Do you still meet friends and have a social life?
Yeah. Every now and then, a wedding or some Christmas party I might go to. But I guess the difference is that I'm more just naturally intoxicated. So I don't drink, I don't smoke anymore, do anything else. So I just go out, and it's much cheaper. There's no hangovers, and I have an even better time. So that would be the difference. But I don't really enjoy late nights and the atmosphere. It would have to be more of a daytime event, most likely. And I'm more picky and choosy about where I go and what I do.
And does it come naturally to you, or do you have to force it on yourself sometimes?
Naturally, yeah, very naturally. It had to be that way because in my past life, as I say it, before 2011, which is when I had my spiritual awakening, is where, you know, I was involved in a lot of drinking and a lot of hedonistic activities, which I thought I couldn't do without. So I guess that spiritual intoxication and that bliss that I experienced in meeting with the divine is exactly what was needed to show me that actually that's how I should be naturally. That's my natural state.
So as this episode is called Masters of Change, so when you were going through actually these changes after your awakening, as you said, were these changes easy to implement, or did you face any difficulties, and how did you implement them?
Yeah, it took about 3 years, because I didn't actually ever think that I would become a vegetarian or stop drinking and doing other things, because I quite enjoyed it. You know, I was having a good time. I gave up smoking about 3 or 4 times before that, and I kept on starting again. But the last time that I gave up, which was in 2010, that was it. I knew that was it. And it was like I'd accumulated enough spiritual power, self-mastery to be able to just say, no, this is it. And it felt so good. It felt so empowering, because before that I felt like it was stronger than me, the cigarette.
Sometimes when you do that kind of changes within you, sometimes the person tends to get irritable. Sometimes the energy channelizes in a wrong way, in anger or irritation. How did you channelize your emotion? Did it ever happen to you that you thought that getting irritable or negative emotions showed up?
No, not at all.
Maybe because of meditation, that power which you were accumulating, so you channelize it in a right way, in love and compassion.
Yes. I would say that definitely on the spiritual path, emotions can come up, and they do come up, but you feel a lot more detached from it. You don't feel as affected. I used to be very sensitive. I used to cry at the smallest of things. But once you begin to take power from the divine, then you feel a lot more grounded, and you get that kind of detachment where either you don't react anymore, or if there is some kind of subconscious reaction, you're consciously able to just stay distanced from it. And by staying distanced from it, you just maintain your peace and your dignity and your natural state of happiness.
What would be your message to the youngsters, like the young crowd, when you see back in your country where you are? What do you think is the need of the hour?
I think there's a big need for freedom. People want to be themselves, but maybe they don't know how to quite be themselves. And I think people feel, and youngsters, that they're being put in boxes sometimes, you know, like you're a Muslim or a Serbian or a Croat or a Bosnian, and these are just such old methods of identification which are very outdated. And there is beauty in culture, there is beauty in being from a certain place, definitely, but that isn't who we are. And when we realize that we are much more than that, that we are spiritual beings, points of pure consciousness, then we begin to experience that freedom, we begin to experience who we truly are. And that's when life is really beautiful, and it's not constrained, it's not dictated by someone else or something that's happening outside of me, but it's something that just naturally emerges from the soul.
Correct. Very rightly said. What is that one thing that you're still working on, which you want to change about yourself, which is a little tough according to you?
A challenge probably is sometimes comes with health, because we are living in this body, we are in this costume, and it's a very complex thing. And everything that's imprinted within the subconscious, any traumas, any emotional scars, are all still in there. And so when certain triggers do happen, that's when the challenges would come, I would say. But then when you are on the spiritual path, you realize that, wow, a year ago or 2 years ago, I've changed a lot just in this amount of time. So if I've progressed this much, then wow, things are just going to get better and better. So I think it's about just being mature in that sense and realizing that things can't just happen overnight. We live in a society where things we want to happen all the time, quickly now, and we forget that it's actually about enjoying the journey as well.
Do you ever self-doubt yourself? Does that ever creep in, or do you say that where I was yesterday, I have grown from there, so I don't need to create that doubt within myself?
I think there's definitely a foundation of trust. I've had a very powerful experience of self-trust, and it's a foundation that just keeps me going no matter what. Even if some doubt creeps in, I know it's not true. I know it's not really me. So I just wait, and then it passes, and then I'm back to being myself again.
All right, that's really nice. And where do you see yourself in another 5 years, let's say? Next 5 years, is there anything that you would, if you have made a plan for the next 5 years?
I'm not sure. It's a bit challenging to make plans these days. I make plans and then things just seem to flow and change. Sometimes the plans happen, sometimes the plans don't. We live in a very rapidly changing world, so who knows? Let's just wait and see what the adventure has to hold. Each day is a new adventure. So
when you meet someone, like in spirituality, when you come across a new person, how do you look at them? How do you look at them, like bodies, or is there any special way to look at them so that all the vices don't creep in?
I really experienced that everyone is my brother. That's how I feel. Or not that everyone is my child, but I have these motherly qualities, I guess, where I want to make everyone feel good and everyone feel welcome, because I think this is what people need. People need to feel like they belong. People need to feel safe. And naturally, I just want to give everyone a hug in that sense. So we had this old slogan back in the times of when it was Yugoslavia and not Bosnia, brotherhood and unity. So I remember when I met Daddy Gulzar, one of our senior teachers who passed away not so long ago, and we were talking about what had happened in Yugoslavia and in Bosnia, and I mentioned the slogan, and she just said, "Those are just words." And it was so true. And in that moment, it was definitely what I needed to hear, because I needed to spend a lot more time in silence. I needed to accumulate a lot more yoga power in preparations to me moving back to Bosnia. So it's nice to experience that slogan in a practical way now, without that experience of me or you or us and them, based on differences of religion, nation, sex, anything like that. I think when we go beyond all of that, then brotherhood and unity is definitely just a lifestyle that we can have on an every single day basis.
Yeah. Are there any experiences that you must have had with the seniors of this organization, like you mentioned, Dadi Gulzar? Any experience in particular that you've had with any seniors? Yeah.
So that was one. Daddy Janki is always a powerhouse, someone who I didn't get to spend a lot of time with, but the moments that I did were always very inspiring and uplifting, and I guess whatever challenge I was going through, it was exactly what I needed at that time. And that is because God always works through his instruments. And And when we trust in our senior instruments in that way, then there's a beautiful relationship that happens with the divine, but also on the level of the human family that we're all a part of. So very many, very essential experiences, but very powerful.
And we do so much for our bodies. People do so much for their bodies. They work out, they run. They don't have too much to do with their mind. Like, they don't focus that much on the mind, but it is equally important. Do you think is there anything else apart from meditation that can help someone with their mental health?
Well, there's a variety of things, and there's many different healing techniques that can be explored. I think self-compassion is one thing that is very good for mental health. But I would say it's always good to also work with someone that's a professional in that sense, and there's no shame in that. There's still a lot of taboo and negative press around mental health. But I think most people go through mental health challenges at some point in their life. And the sooner we realize that, the more we'll be able to just normalize talking about it, helping each other through as a family, as a community. And I think that sense of community is really important also, so that people don't feel rejected or that they're going through something by themselves. So it's important for people to just be open and honest with people that they can trust, and start that divine conversation as well. Because the more that we connect with the divine, the more we're naturally led to the people, places and things that we need to do to have a more holistic approach to our sense of well-being and our life.
If you can talk more about the divine conversation and how that works.
Sure. So the best time would be the morning time, I guess. And I would say what I do is just listen a lot. I stay open and see what kind of feelings and thoughts emerge. And the more I've learned to just listen, if I have any kind of question, if I have some kind of situation in my life where I'm not sure what I need to do, then especially that morning time, the answers just seem to come. The right thoughts just seem to come. And suddenly there's a sense of clarity. So also during the day, maybe on the hour, every hour when I have another moment of peace, and I just stop whatever I'm doing, turn off my phone, turn off my laptop, then that's another moment where I'm able to just tune into that higher consciousness and really go beyond. And then that sense of clarity, that sense of vision of what I need to do next becomes very clear.
So is it important to turn away from all those distractions to hear to that divine conversation? Can't we sit in the middle of an office and do the same?
Yes, but we need to turn our attention inwards. This is one thing that's absolutely necessary, because in this day and age, it's like everything is designed to distract us, to make us look outside of ourselves. But that inner world is so much more fun.
Correct.
We just need to discover it and keep on tapping into it, because everything else is kind of designed to get us addicted to just looking outside again.
Yeah.
So when we start looking within, having those inner conversations, reflections, then it becomes a very beautiful way to live.
Right. Well, thank you for taking our time and speaking to us today. The time only permits us this much, otherwise I would have loved to continue the conversation. Thank you again, and Om Shanti.
Thank you. Om Shanti.